Guys, this is Audrey from Audrey Simper Photography. Today I'm going to be showing you a pretty cool tutorial, and a lot of you guys have requested it from me in the past, so it's finally happening. This is how to Photoshop makeup from scratch. So if you don't have a makeup artist for your photo shoot, or in my case, I find this technique to be very useful when I'm doing a self-portrait and I just don't want to put on makeup for the day. I've also found it to be pretty useful when I did do makeup, but when I open up the photo shoot in Photoshop, it just doesn't turn out how I wanted it to. So this is really helpful for those makeup touch-ups. Alright, well I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and make sure you stick around for the end because I'll be showing you a speed edit of how I finished the final photo, and I'll also have a link for more info about my one-on-one Skype sessions and mentor sessions that I'm going to be launching later this month. This is the image that I'm going to be working with today. I've already started to edit in the atmosphere with the flowers and the fading, but I haven't yet touched the skin because that's what we're going to do together in this tutorial. Okay, we're going to start off by using the patch tool. I have some pimply little red dots and I've got some huge under eyes. So let's go ahead and start by cleaning that up. What I'm doing here is just evening out my lips. They looked a little chapped, and I don't want them to look chapped. I want them to look smoother, so that's what I'm doing here. Just playing around with the patch tool until I can get the right look that I want. That looks fine. Okay, I've cleaned up all the spots, so now I'm going to go with the patch tool towards the under eyes, and I'm just going to see how this will look because usually it works pretty well for me. Yep. Just kind of blends it in a little more, and this is a little trickier because the hair is in the way. I can either decide to move these stray hairs, but it's kind of a big mess of them, and I think that will take way longer than the other way I'm thinking about. So we're going to use the dodge and burn technique demonstrated in my other skin editing tutorial video, which I'm not going to go into fully here because it's in that other video, which I will provide the link to. And it's important that you know it's not just the dodge and burn tools that are on the left-hand toolbar. It's an action that you need to create. So, once you have this action, the color palettes that we're going to be using are black and white. The opacity, anything under 10, works best. The way this works is this. Using the brush tool with our colors, we can either make aspects of the photo darker or lighter without affecting the texture of the image. I like to start with white, lightening up the spots that are a bit too dark for my taste, using repetitive strokes until I get the look I want. One thing that I need to point out, applying makeup in Photoshop is the same as applying it in person. We are adding highlights and shading to the face. It's important that we know where highlights and shadows need to exist and where they should be omitted. You can find a lot of YouTube makeup tutorials on contouring that will help you in this case, but I will also give you some tips within this video and on my blog. So I like to add some highlights between my eyebrows, above the nose, under my eyes, and around the nose. So that's what I'm just doing quickly here. the way I like to contour my face. So I like to make my cheekbones a little dark, or the hollow of my cheek, I should say. It's a little too much. So while you're applying it, you might not notice a difference, but the dodge and burn makes a huge difference. Alright, I'm also going to darken up the outer edge of my eyelid. Give it a little more shape, a little more darkness, and make my eye not look so doughy, doe-eyed. Going over my eyelashes just a bit. And you can also trace them to kind of act as mascara. I guess if you're going to do this, you can also raise your opacity so it's a little easier. You don't have to do as many strokes. Here's the difference. Okay, so we're already starting to see the difference. Then on my nose, with the dark, I'm going to bring my opacity back down below 10. Okay, so let's see. Squeaky chair. So I'm going to just draw kind of like 2 lines on the edge of my nose. And in the middle, first of all, bring out the highlights. And I can bring out some highlights there on the side of the nose as well. What that's doing is just making my nose look a little thinner. It's something I like to do. As you can see, that's how it looks. I'm not super happy with it, so I'm going to play around until I get something that I like. Maybe that means I have to really lighten up the sides of it. Also like to put a little light on the forehead. A little dark around the hairline. And I like to add some highlights right on the chin, right on the top of the cheek, and I like to bring out this Cupid's bow just a little bit. It really doesn't need a lot before it starts looking fake. Okay, so we're bringing out the highlights a little bit more, giving some dimension with the shadows. We can also bring that out in the lips, just going over the darker areas, the edges, and going over the highlights with a smaller brush. You want to get some glossy shine on there. Let's see. I think that might help my nose too. Cool. Okay, I'm happy with the nose now. It still looks a little dramatic, but I think once I put all the editing on it, it'll look fine. What I do is I go in to the eyes, and I want to bring them out as well as my skin. So I'm going to put some highlights right in the middle of the eye. It's pretty much like randomly, but just bringing out like what's already there. Careful not to overdo it to make it look fake. going around the outer circle of the eye. I'm also going to go with the darker brush on top. Give it like a shade from the eyelid, but when you come out, like, it looks pretty cool. It might be too much. I might tone it down a little bit, but first I'm going to add some light to just like the whites of my eyes, but just barely, just around the iris. And I'm also going to lighten up this area on my eye. I like to do that with my makeup when I have a white pencil brush. I'm also going to add lightness just under the brow bone. Or I guess it's the top of the brow bone. So the eyes do look a little almost fake, but I don't want to change it just yet, and I think I might just need to change the window light that's showing through my eyes. It's a really big window, and I'm just wondering what it would look like if it was more like that. It's a little bit less intense. I think I'm going to do that on this side as well, making sure it is the same. And I honestly think that looks so much better. It's just a little bit less intense of an eye. Alright, so now that we're done dodging and burning the face, we will do the same with the skin on my body, which in this picture it's just my arm, and eventually the hair. So again, just adding some definition. I'll also do the same with the hair, just highlighting the highlights that are already there. Now to continue the makeup. I mean, you could leave it as is, but let's say you wanted more of a dramatic look. The eyebrows. You can use your dodge and burn to make them a little darker if you would like. I'm seeing now that one is darker than the other and it's like bothering me. What you can also do, create a new layer. The spot coloring tool, select the color of the eyebrow, and we're basically just going to paint over this brow roughly, and we'll do this one as well. And for the end, smaller brush. Okay, so it looks really silly right now, but we're going to put it on multiply, and we're going to lower the opacity. So that's 0, and we can take it up just, this one's at 17%. If you really wanted, you know, bolder brows, you bring it up more. I don't think we need much definition here after what I had done with dodge and burn. So that's the eyebrows. I think I'll put it like at half of that. Okay, so now for the eyes. We're going to first create some eyeshadow. And since this image is primarily pink, we're going to be using these soft pink hues and tones, and I'm just going to grab a pink color that I like from the lips. I was once told by a makeup artist that if your eyes, your cheeks, and your lips are all the same color, your makeup just looks complete. So, and I would agree with that. So now with this kind of pinky champagne tone we just selected, I'm going to draw in the eyeshadow just basically on the whole eyelid, but just under the lightness we added to the brow bone. So from under, just under the brow bone, all the way to the eyelashes. And we're going to play around with varying opacity with this layer. And we're gonna go through these blending options and try to find the best one. Multiply is good for darkening, and I'm gonna lower the opacity of that. As you can see. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this layer. I'm going to hide that one I just duplicated. Going back to the bottom one, I'm actually going to I just created a layer mask, and I'm going to switch to black, and I'm going to erase a lot of that except for except for the edge here. Bring back some in the crease, because the dark should really only be on the outer edge. Now, with the layer we just duplicated, we're going to change it from multiply, and we're going to do color. And I'm actually going to create another layer mask and erase it from the dark area just to make it like blend a little more, look a little cleaner. So we've got a darker pink on the edges, and we have a lighter pink on the eyelid, and we have our lighter color up on the top under the brow. There's like usually when you do eyeshadow, it's 3 different colored tones. I'm going to make a folder, name it makeup, so we can see all of our transformations. If you want to add some blush, you still have that pink color, you can just paint it on. So this looks a little fake to me. We're going to explore some of these blending modes. Sometimes it's just a matter of scrolling through these to see which one works. I kind of just like the color, but I also want it a little bit darker, so hue is good. Hue is good, for sure. For me, this is like too much makeup, so I'm not even going to have that blush there. I think just the highlighting of the cheekbone and the darkening was enough for that cheek, but I could even play with the opacity and just bring it up slightly just to have the tiniest little bit of blush there. Okay, now we are going to go in and add some eyeliner to our eyes. We're going to select the black color, or you can select a color from the eyelashes. You can use a brown tone. It's really up to you and how dark you want the eyeliner to be. But we're just going to stick with black today. Okay, I previously messed up. I was on the wrong layer. So just make sure that for each makeup section that you're doing, like, okay, eyeliner, eyeshadow, lips, you're making a different layer for each one so that they don't get mixed up and you don't accidentally delete something. Okay, so back to the eyeliner. We're using solid black, and we're using a very, very thin brush to go over the shape of the eyelashes. And right now I'm doing like a winged liner, so it has a little tip, a little wing at the end. We're going to lower the opacity and change the blending mode. We're going to lower the opacity a lot, actually, to avoid it from looking too fake. In this case, we only need just a tiny bit of liner, but if you really wanted a really heavy, dark eye with more eyeliner, you can do the same type of thing, but make sure your brush isn't so fine, or at least go in with the eraser, and you can erase it down to the fading look that you want. If you do want it darker, you can always go in with your Dodge and Burn and work it a little more to your liking. I just don't think this image needs much more than that. Alright, now we are going to go back into the lips and add some lip color, or some lipstick, if you will. We're going to start by creating a new layer and selecting a color on the lips, preferably the same one we were using, this champagne-y pinky color. And we're going to draw that whole color over the lips with a soft brush, being careful not to get any of this color onto the skin. We're going to go to multiply and bring the opacity down. This was at 40%. Okay, this is like a red. It almost looks matte. So that's cool, like a strawberry color. Or you can continue plain. That one's a little intense. No, darker color, no. You can do lighten or screen for an even lighter color. I think that looks super weird. Overlay is just a brighter, and again you can vary the opacity, make it look super nice. Okay, let's go down hard. Okay, vivid. Obviously we don't want it that vivid, but just if we wanted a brighter pink, that is what we would do. It's not doing anything. No, we wouldn't use that. Interesting. Let's bring color up. I don't know, I guess color would just be putting an extra splash of that color on top. That's all I would really want for this image, but let's say you were going for a a purple, right? Let's select a color. A lot of people are really into this like mauve, dark purpley red color. And I think it actually looks pretty good. I tried it before starting this tutorial, but it doesn't work with this image. Well, it actually does, but it's not what I'm going for here. I might need to define this lip shape a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, so what I did, you can do multiply, right? But what I did, so I had it on, did I have it on color? Let's see. I think I had it on color, and then it was bright, so then I did multiply underneath it, like just a bit. Yeah, you can play around too. That's interesting. Yeah. And then we could probably do vivid for bright purple. Actually, I really like that. Let's see, it's between this and this. I kind of like the lips standing out with these flowers, so I'm going to make this a group of its own lips. Just lower the opacity like just a bit. Okay. You don't want it to be too strong. Cool. So that is how you can apply makeup in Photoshop. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did like it, please comment, share it with your friends, give me feedback, let me know how it goes. If there's something else you guys are wanting to learn, please let me know, because I'm taking suggestions for future tutorial videos. I'm going to finish up the rest of this image. It's not complete yet. There's still a lot of touching up that I want to do, color and light wise. So I'm going to be speed editing this in Photoshop and then finishing up in Lightroom. So everyone, I have some really exciting news for you. I'm going to be launching very soon mentor sessions and Skype sessions so that you can sit down with me one-on-one and learn my processes in Photoshop and Lightroom, how I edit photos, what kind of techniques am I using in Photoshop, and kind of open it up as a Q&A session. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, I'm going to have a link at the end of this video so that you can subscribe to my newsletter and get updates about that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.